So today I would like to talk about oil painting medium. The first thing to know about oil painting medium is that we don't need to use any medium to paint. So as you can see here, I'm directly using the paint out of the tube and I'm applying it on the surface. And this is completely fine, you can paint like that. So if we don't need to use any medium, why most of the artists use oil painting medium? Well, in this video, that's what we're gonna see. I'm gonna go over a different type of medium. I'm gonna tell you the difference between them, and I'm gonna tell you which medium I personally use and I personally like. And I'm gonna also give you a solution if you wanna go toxic free or solvent free. There is solvent free medium also on the market. Now, there is two main reasons why artists use oil painting medium. The first reason is to alter, to change the consistency of the paint. Either changing the paint to be more transparent, either make the paint more fluid, more flow, give more flow to the paint. This is one of the reasons. And the other reason, it's either to accelerate the drying time, either to decelerate the drying time. So when I started oil painting coming from acrylic, to me it was very weird that the oil paint doesn't dry or dry in a long period of time. And this is actually the reason why oil paint is magical. It's because it dries very slowly and you have plenty of time to work on your painting. But I guess it was a matter of feeling more comfortable with the oil paint. So one of the first oil painting medium that I used was Liquin Original. Liquin Original, it comes in a bottle like that. This type of medium are Alkyd based medium. So all these medium that are Alkyd based are fast drying medium. So it accelerates the drying time of your paint. This comes into a form of gel, but they also sell Liquin Fine Detail that is more like a liquid. And they have also Liquin Light Gel that is also more liquid type of medium. So all these medium are fast drying medium. You have other brands, this is Winsor & Newton, but you have other brands that produce the same type of medium, Alkyd based medium. And they all do the same, they all accelerate the drying time of the medium. So I don't use this medium, I used it at the beginning, and I know there's a lot of artists that use this type of medium. There's nothing wrong about using this type of medium. The only thing that you need to find is the medium that suits your need, that fits your needs. I personally don't like this type of medium. They are extremely toxic, they smell super bad. Any type of medium you use, you need a good ventilation in your studio, but this is particularly true if you use this, because this has a terrible smell. I know some people doesn't mind the smell. I personally mind it a lot. It's really a medium that I don't like at all. I used it pretty much a lot at the beginning, so I spent maybe, I don't know, a few months using these fast drying mediums. And once I got used to the oil paint, the paint itself, I quickly realized that I don't need this type of medium, because oil paint is magical because of its slow drying time. So now I'm more on the other spectrum. I want my oil paint to dry even less fast, so I use other type of medium. I'm gonna talk about this medium in a few seconds. But to conclude about the fast drying medium, this is very much just your own preference. If you want the oil paint to dry fast, well, it can have its use sometimes. If you want to do an underpainting and you want the underpainting to dry fast, you can use this type of medium. But even when I need the first layer to dry fast, well, I don't use this medium now. Like, I really never use any of this Alkyd based medium. And yeah, that's it for this type of medium. Before going to the medium I use, I want to talk about this type of medium. This is called oil painting medium. These are made by different type of brands, and usually these look alike the medium that were used by the old master. These medium are directly a combination of different medium inside. They are pre-mixed for us. So this one here is a mix between, I believe, linseed oil, damar varnish, and turpentine. I tried it as well at the beginning. I didn't like it too much. I had nothing against it, but it was not something amazing, so I quickly stopped using it, but I wanted to give it a try. It's just a regular medium, it works pretty good, but yeah, it has a turpentine in it, so this is not something I like to use. Turpentine is another type of solvent. I highly recommend to stay away from turpentine since it's extremely toxic. Turpentine is the most toxic medium you can use for oil paint. I never used it. I started oil painting in May 2021. I did all my paintings without turpentine, so you really don't need to use any turpentine with oil paint. This, I believe, it's something that we got from the old master. Turpentine was very much what was used historically in oil painting mediums. But now we have better solutions. The improvement of the technology and the research, we have better solutions that are less harmful for us. So turpentine is really something that we don't need to use nowadays at all. And turpentine is often replaced nowadays by a safer solution, which is odorless mineral spirit. Here's Gamsol by Gamblin, but there is plenty of different brands that produce odorless mineral spirit. Odorless mineral spirit, one important thing to understand and to know is that yes, it doesn't smell, but is extremely harmful too. It's less harmful than turpentine, and it's probably the solvent that is the safest for the studio. So one thing that I didn't understand when I started oil painting is that it's recommended to clean the brush with mineral spirit, but then I couldn't really understand why it's also recommended as a medium. So indeed, you can clean your brushes with mineral spirit, and you can as well use mineral spirit to thin down your paint. And just to use it as a medium, you dip your brush in the mineral spirit, and then you're gonna grab some paint and start to paint with it. This is a totally fine solution. I use mineral spirit now a lot to paint with. But mineral spirit, one thing to know is that it might remove a little bit of the intensity of the colors when you use too much mineral spirit, or depending the pigment that you use mineral spirit with. I never noticed that too much while painting with mineral spirit, but it's true compared to a medium like linseed oil. The mineral spirit has a tendency to remove a little bit of the intensity of the color compared to linseed oil, which will do the opposite. It will intensify the colors of the oil paint. There is as well solvent-free medium like that to use. This is made by Gamblin, and it comes into a gel form. I think they also propose a liquid form. Yeah, this is supposed to be non-toxic. It still contains alkyd inside. They are moderate to fast drying time, this type of medium. I believe if you really want to go solvent free, to me my recommendation is to use linseed oil, which is completely natural. This still contains alkyd, so maybe it's solvent free, but it's still alkyd inside, which is a chemical. To me, if I want to paint without any chemical, I will paint more with linseed oil than any of this solution. But this, it's marketed as a non-toxic medium, so this is also a solution if you want to go solvent free, if you want to use a solvent free medium. So now the main medium to use with oil paint is linseed oil, just plain linseed oil. Why? Oil paint, a tube of oil paint, is basically the pigment, the powder, the pigment mixed into the oil, and mostly it's linseed oil that is used in the tube of oil paint. You have different type of oil. You have safflower oil, walnut oil, poppy oil. There's different type of oil used to create oil paint, but the most common found on the market is linseed oil. So once we know that the tube of paint is made of pigment and linseed oil, well, it's quickly done to realize that the easiest medium to use for oil paint is actually linseed oil. So quickly, never use any cheap kitchen oil to mix with your oil paint. These are non-drying oils. So again, I always do this recommendation, but when buying the supplies for your studio, always go first to an art supply store. But it's always recommended to buy the supplies in an art supply store, because you will end up with the right supplies and not something that will damage your paint. This is called refined linseed oil, and this is very good. This is what I actually use. I'm gonna show you in a little bit the mix that I do. I create my own medium. This is the way I like to paint. I also use safflower oil from time to time. So the big difference between linseed oil and safflower oil is that linseed oil has a drying time of around a week, and safflower oil has a drying time of around 2 weeks. So this is slower drying time, this is faster drying time, but both remain in the slow drying time of oil paint. So yeah, that's already more or less it to what to know about medium. But basically, one thing to know is that at the beginning you're most likely gonna put too much medium in your paint, which is never recommended. But one thing to remember is that it's good to watch videos and to listen or to hear some advice from artists like me that share the knowledge, or some teacher, instructor. But what is even better is to watch the video first, but then you need to experiment for yourself. So if an artist tells you, oh, never add more than 50% of medium in your paint, blah, 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 blah. Well, do not just listen to the advice. Do it yourself. Add more than 50% of medium. See the reaction. See how the paint will react when you add way too much medium. And test the limit of your material. I believe that's the way to go. You need to experiment by yourself in order to see what you can do and what you cannot do. I do this type of video to help people, and I hope it's helpful. But at some point, you really need to go down to your own experimentation. So it's good to have the knowledge to hear what artists like me tell you to do, or the advice I give you. But then it's also very important to keep this advice in mind, but then just try for yourself, experiment. Try to put too much medium to see how much you can put until the paint doesn't go good and it doesn't work no more. Basically what it does when you add too much medium to oil paint, the particles, the pigment particles will not stabilize correctly on the paint film. So this over time, or even pretty fast, it will give you problem on your final painting. So try it, take a spare canvas, a spare board, a spare panel, and try to add too much medium, then try to paint without medium, and try different approach to really test the limit of your material. This is really an advice that I highly recommend following. Just test it for yourself. Quickly, I pour my linseed oil in containers like that because it's very easy to use, very convenient compared to the other bottle. That this type of bottle are very hard to open sometimes, especially when the linseed oil dry on the cap. And I also have another jar where I pour my mineral spirit. So I have both jars and I'm ready to go to do my medium when I need it. Without further ado, let's jump right into it, and we're gonna use a little bit of the medium to see how I use it. So basically I create my own medium that I pour into my palette cups. Watch my video about jars and palette cups if you want to know more about these. But here it's a mix of linseed oil and mineral spirit. I'm gonna create one right now just so you see how I do it. So here we can take an empty palette cup, and I usually pour mineral spirit first. So here I take mineral spirit, I just pour it like that. Here I'm gonna create a little bit, not too much, because I'm not gonna use this one. And then this is how I start a painting. I usually just pour mineral spirit, so let's see what it does. I take it with my brush, so you see I just dip slightly my brush in it, and that's enough. And then you can see that the oil paint has more flow into it compared to before. You can see the difference on the mark. Even if I just do like that, it's a little better. I will need a more medium if I want a more consistent brush stroke. So you see here, now this is more consistent. There's less white holes compared to before. There was white holes everywhere. As you can see here. And now let's try to put too much medium. If you put too much medium, you see how transparent it becomes. And here you can probably not see it on the camera, but when you will try it for yourself, you can tell that the particles, the pigment, are not consistent everywhere, and that's gonna give you problem. But it's good to try, and you can create some nice effect like that, some really nice effect like that. So don't be scared of trying stuff. You can even make it drip a little bit. I really need to add a lot if I want it to drip like that. There we go. And you can make it drip. You can try different things until the paint doesn't work no more, until there's too much paint, it doesn't work. This I barely do. I was doing it at the beginning a little bit to test, but I never use as much medium as that. What I do, it's mostly, I'm gonna dry that. What I do to show you, I really usually just dip my brush a little bit, take some paint, mix it on my palette like that, and then apply the paint. And that's it. This is already a lot. There's a lot of transparency here already. I usually don't add as much medium. My brush had probably already medium in it. So here, this is it. So my first layer of a painting will mostly be done with only mineral spirit. If I use only mineral spirit at my first layer, it's because mineral spirit dry faster. So I want my first layer to dry faster, that way then I'm good to go to work on top of it. Here I can add a little bit of linseed oil, a few drops. And now I have a mix of linseed oil and mineral spirit in my medium. Usually it's good to do that mix a little ahead of time, because the linseed oil and the mineral spirit takes a few hours, maybe sometimes a few days to mix properly. And here you can see I have again too much medium on my brush. I will need to add more paint. Now this is a better consistency here, where there is more paint. It's less transparent. It really depends what you want to achieve. So you constantly change, the use of medium constantly change depending what you want to achieve. There we go. So I don't know if you can see it, but as soon as you add linseed oil, it becomes more shiny, and the vibrancy of the color are superior to when you only add mineral spirit. So that's it. This is pretty much all you need to know about medium. I'm not sure, but I hope I answered all your questions, all the questions you had in mind about mediums. Please do not hesitate. I'm here to help. So if you have any more questions about mediums, place it in the comment section and I will answer all your questions. I don't see any other things that I can tell you about mediums other than try it for yourself. That was probably the most annoying thing to me, is that I was seeing all these mediums available on the market, and I wanted to make sure of which medium will fit my need. So I had to buy all these different type of medium, and it was a little bit a mess at the beginning, and I think you have to go through that phase of testing different type of mediums to really know which medium is gonna fit your need. Like I mentioned, you see this one, I bought it, look at that, it's almost full. I really barely used it. I believe this is what you have to do at the beginning. Unfortunately, you have to go through a trial and error. You have to buy certain medium to try them to see if they fit your needs or not. Again, don't be scared about the slow drying time of oil paint. This is the magical aspect of oil paint. I know at the beginning it's so impressive. I was very impressed by the slow drying time of oil paint, but this is something you get used to. The only advice I can give you for that is to paint and paint again. Just paint every single day. I have a video about what's the best surface to use when starting oil painting, so please check this video in order to buy a cheap surface so you can paint and paint and paint again and do mistakes without being worried of wasting a surface. This is very important, so please check this video if you haven't seen it. I have a full playlist about starting oil painting, and I hope this is helpful to you if you start oil painting, and I will see you in the next video.